80s horror fans, you are in the right place right now. Horror fans in general, you are in the right place right now. Friday the 13th fans, especially from Jason Lives, you are right where you need to be. Nancy McLoughlin fans, this is your episode because we have her here with us on the Terror Express. Nancy, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
We are going to talk about some of the things that you are offering your fans, where they can meet you, what they can do when they meet you, maybe some photo ops. We're going to discuss that in a little bit, but let's first talk about Lizbeth. Let's talk about your role. Did you audition for Lizbeth? How did you come about getting Lizbeth served to you and say, "Hey, play Lizbeth"?
Because uh, the writer director I knew pretty well, and I was afraid of scary movies. Always afraid of scary movies, and
Yes, that's what
uh,
makes them fun. That
exactly.
yeah.
So he got the job to do, and the only thing he had to do was bring Jason back. That was the only requirements. Everything else was up in the air.
Mhm.
So every time I saw one of those movies, I would say things like, "Why are you running out in your underpants saying, 'Who's out there? Who's out there?'" You see a guy in a mask, you're going to go the other direction. Is what.
Right,
So
right.
sort of written for me because it was like a kickback to like the 40s kind of clippy banter,
Yeah.
and there's no way she was going to do this.
I know a lot of fans really flock to Lizbeth, and the her your death scene in that movie is iconic with the American. Now it doesn't say express. What's it say? Express? Express.
I don't know what it says on
It's a
the car.
little.
A
I
little
watched
bit.
it. I watched it today. Excess. I think there's
Yes,
two letters, two
that's it.
letters missing. Excess.
Yes.
So I had spoken with you before. Let me show this to listeners. I'm showing this really really cool pendant that makes us twins for this episode. But I had talked to Nancy on the phone um, months ago. This was actually years ago. Do you remember this conversation?
It was years
And
ago.
you had told me that filming your scene, if I remember correctly, that mud puddle was heated.
It
Now,
must have been 90 degrees or something.
so that makes me wonder, was this an actual outdoor puddle that they had
Oh,
heated, or was this on a set?
it was Crystal Lake. It was literally in Georgia, and it was at a camp scene, and it was 18 degrees. It was,
Hmm.
oh yeah, it was 18 degrees with a wind chill factor minus something.
Wow.
How cold it was. And if you see everybody around, you'll see everybody with huge fur coats and huge fur everything. I had
Yeah.
no idea they were going to heat the mud puddle for me, but they did. Praise God, they heated the puddle,
Nice.
and it was
Nice.
lovely. But getting out was a challenge. So you had to do it
Oh
all in one
yeah.
to get it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I can imagine it'd be like jumping out of a hot tub into the winter weather, getting out.
and on top of that, we were at a real camp, which had stall showers, and it's the winter. So, and they
Mm,
never had warm water anyway. So it was
mm,
ice cold water, no stalls, no anything, trying to get this rich, thick clay mud that took approximately 3 weeks to really get out. But I wasn't going to wait. I got as much off as I could. I
yeah.
put
Yeah.
on as many clothes as I could. It was freezing. It was,
Oh, I bet. I bet. Now,
thought I was,
are you familiar with Judy Aronson from part
oh, I know
four?
her name.
You,
Yes.
yeah, she was actually in freezing water during her entire shoot, and I think she actually got hypothermia. And it was Ted White who says, "No, we're done. You got your shot. If you put that girl back in the water, I'm done." So, and I believe
Oh, God
in my
bless her.
conversation with her, she had gotten hypothermia, and she says, "Jason saved my life." So, I'm so glad they heated your mud for you.
Jason didn't. Jason almost killed. Well, actually, I almost died literally twice too.
And that was CJ in your scene, correct?
CJ was wonderful. CJ was
Yeah,
perfect. Or
yeah.
Jason didn't try to kill me, but they didn't get the proper glass. They had real
Mm,
glass there, and they used a real spear. So
ooh,
the spear slipped, and it wasn't supposed to,
yeah.
and so it slipped. It missed my head by this much. I
Wow.
mean,
And
I
that looked full
literally,
force.
yeah.
Wow.
Then of course once again, oh, I can do the mud puddle scene. They viced my head underground. And I'm not claustrophobic or anything,
Yeah.
but my head is like this, viced under, tilted back. And
Ugh.
the regulator, and the regulator, the mud seeped down.
Mm.
And so I'm trying to be a good egg, but I can't breathe and I can't
Right.
anything. So as much as I could hold my breath over a minute, and then I raised my hand because I wanted it perfectly still.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they bring in another regulator, thinking, oh, that was a broken regulator. It wasn't a broken regulator. Regulators can't go in mud and can't go in that direction in mud. So the producer got very annoyed and just said, just keep your head down through. And I
So
did.
in a sense, you were on some form or level waterboarded during the filming of your scene. Talk about an artist who would die for their work. That
I
that
heard them
that
call
that
lunch. I
yeah.
heard them call lunch when my head was still viced under.
Yeah.
I went, I'm going to die. They forgot about me. I couldn't believe they forgot about
Wow. So how long were you under that? Do you recall?
me. It was over a minute, the
How
last one.
and how long were you in the mud puddle
Oh, in the mud
altogether?
puddle?
Or underwater on in the mud puddle altogether?
I
In the
was in the
puddle.
mud puddle about 8 hours to 10 hours.
So we get to see you actually almost killed on film and waterboarded. What other installment in this franchise are you gonna get that? You're not. You're not.
But Lizbeth didn't die. Lizbeth lives.
Lizbeth lives. Yes, I love that. And we've got some cards. I'm going to share,
I
listeners, if
just
you
thought that
check
was
out. I love it, and I do want one. I know we've discussed this. I'm definitely going to get one. Now, listeners, I'm going to put some links in the description, where you can go to see where you can check in with Nancy about purchasing some really cool items that I've never seen, and as a collector, I'm really excited about getting my hands on. Uh, Now, and we're also going to have links to everything we discussed, all her appearances. I know you have something coming up in New Jersey. We're going to discuss a little bit.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the fans. I've already
Yes.
spoken to a couple, which is so exciting. And today I had to call the hotel for whatever reason. I don't recall why. I know why. I needed a rack for the jackets so I
Yeah.
could pick them up. And they were so nice. The hotel people seem so pleasant and stuff. And they're so excited about Friday the 13th, but it's not just Friday the 13th. There's going to be so many reunions of
Mm,
casts there
yes.
that I'm
Yes.
looking forward to meeting. And it's just gonna, and actually A Christmas Story is gonna be there.
Yeah.
And
Oh, nice. Peter
Ralph,
Billingsley, and yeah,
I used to go to acting class with him.
that's
So
awesome.
that will be a lot of fun.
I
There's a
I love I love A Christmas Story. What is the date? What is the date that your chiller is going to be running that you'll be there?
27th, October 27th, 28th, and 29th.
All right, I want to put that here, this information as well. I want to make sure they have full access to you. And
Thank you.
whatever she sells at Chiller, unfortunately, if you can't make it, you're just gonna lose out on it. But like I said, contact her when she returns and see what she has left and see what you can get your hands on. But don't miss the opportunity. Head over, get over to New Jersey and go see her in person and have a blast. Have a great time at Chiller. And you too, Nancy, have a great time at Chiller. I know it's going to be a blast. One of the things that I like to discuss with my guests is real life supernatural events. That's one of the things that I wanted to kind of set apart myself from the other podcasters out there. And you did tell me you have a real life supernatural experience that you can share with the listeners. What happened to you?
The man I used to know was huge into all that. So we'd go to the most haunted this, the most haunted that, the most haunted. So we went to the most haunted Airbnb in California. And it was an old farmhouse, and there was this huge turret and this huge ranch and turret to the top. And we got that room because that was the most haunted room. I had no idea why. I don't want to know why. I don't care. They had a 5-star Michelin restaurant. They seemed like lovely people down there. I can play Scrabble while you play with your ghost. And my parents happened to live pretty close, so the kids were with my parents. So we went to this place, and I'm playing Scrabble down, walking the grounds. I'm having a beautiful time, and it's about dinner time. So I go back to get him, and he's up in the turret with a candle and all these dolls around him. And excuse me, we have dinner reservations. We gotta get going. And so he left. So he went downstairs, and I noticed he had left the candle on. So I blew it out. So we went to dinner. 3/4 the way to dinner, he went, oh, shoot, I forgot to blow out that candle. I didn't say anything. I thought it was funny. And because he always tried to scare me all the time. So he went back, and the candle was blown out. And he went, you didn't blow it out. Did you blow it out, Nancy? I went, don't say, I didn't lie. I just said, don't try to scare me with your ghosty stories. I said, we're doing this, but we're not talking about that. No, I just want to know. Just not going there. You and your candle, la la la, just back and forth. And so he was like so blown away by the candle being blown out. So we had dinner, and everything was lovely. And we go back, and I go to bed real early because I don't want to be a part of the ghosty stories. And so it was a bedroom, and then there was a bathroom, and this in the bathroom were the stairs up to the turret. So about 3:00 in the morning, I don't know what time he went to bed. I went to bed early, like 10-ish, 11-ish.
Yeah.
And I woke up about 3 with needing to the call of the wild, which was in the room next door. And I don't believe in ghosts, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe Christ above all that, so it's not a scary thing. I just didn't want to go. I don't believe it. I don't care. I just don't want to do it. I don't know. So for a half hour, I argued, and then I went, just go. Don't be so stupid. Went, came back to bed, closed my eyes, starting to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, I feel someone tugging at my blankets, pulling them hard, and they're coming off me. And I'm tugging back, but I'm not opening my eyes for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm back. I'm going, okay, he's snoring. It can't be him. Then I feel a cat, because we had cats and dogs, but I felt like a cat jump onto the bed. And cats are kind of distinctive. And when they jump on the bed, they just can fly out of anywhere, and they just jump on the bed. Yes. And I felt the cat roaming around. And then the cat was gone. Then I felt there were so many different things. The last one, I didn't talk about this forever because I didn't want to spread the stories. Plus, I didn't want my kids to hear it. Plus, I didn't want it. But the last thing was, and I'm praying big time with my eyes closed. I never opened my eyes. I don't know why. I felt like a 10-year-old girl walking up my body. Footsteps, one side, one side, one side. You feel the bed go down. You feel the bed go down. And then I felt like someone's face right here. Like my daughter's. Like I could feel the breathing, but not feel the breathing. I felt the presence so strong. And I just prayed and prayed and fell asleep. Then about 5:30 in the morning, 6:00 in the morning, I wake up to another cat, to the blankets being pulled another way. What else? There's something more. It was, a breeze. It started out with a big wind. All the windows were closed. There was no wind. There was nothing. So after about a half hour of going back and forth about this point, I'm trying to kick down. I'm like, I don't want this. This isn't for me. This is for you. I'm trying to kick him awake. As soon as he awoke, everything disappeared. So it's like 6:30. Everything disappeared. Nothing more happened. And I went, I don't know. Tell me. I promise. I did blow out the candle last night. I'm so sorry.
So,
I'm so sorry.
so,
But this happened, and this happened, and this happened. He goes, Nancy, you were reading about it. And I went, I wasn't reading about it.
yeah,
Every
no,
experience,
something was aware of you, and it was definitely
it was
trying
me
to make you aware of that. Yeah. Yeah,
totally.
you're
And
giving me
every,
chills.
every experience I had was textbook. Most people only had one of them or
Yeah.
two of them. I had all like 5 or 6 exact replicas twice.
Wow. So you were accused of reading about it, but you hadn't.
Never.
Did you ever, not even after the fact, you don't know what happened in that room that would
Uh,
make it
oh
active?
yeah, of course I asked then.
Okay, what?
I was asked, of course. Um, and I even wrote out before I read it. I wrote
Yeah.
out exactly what the experience was,
Hmm.
and I think to read about it, unless you read about it in a book or something, to read it there,
Yeah.
you have to sign off on it so people would know if you're making something up or something
Right.
like that. There
Right.
were a lot of rules about this. And I did write out exactly, but literally I would not tell anybody, which really bothered the other person. And the other person was very annoyed that he was up till, I later learned, 1 o'clock in the morning with his candles and his little seance and his little dolls and his little this. Why a doll? Is because it was a 10-year-old girl and
You
her
like the
cat.
child you mentioned and the cat. Okay. That's not creepy at all.
Exactly.
That's
And
that's terrifying.
she went up there to ring the bell for the farm hands to come in,
Yeah.
something in the stairway, and the cat.
Mm.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Never understand it. But what I don't think we understand 90% of the world of what's going on, really. There's so many areas we'll never understand. I just
Right.
know Christ is the victor. And that's what gave me peace, because otherwise I still don't want to talk about it, because I
Right.
don't want to scare people and I don't want to put out, but I also don't want to lie.
Right.
To lie would be wrong too.
Right.
I
So
told the
not
truth. I did blow out the candle.
so not telling the story would be not lying. Well,
And I
thank you
didn't
for
lie
sharing
to
it here.
Tommy. I didn't lie with Tommy either. I just
Yeah.
said, don't, no scary stories. Don't
Right,
try to say,
right, right,
don't. And then
right.
as soon as I admitted to blowing out the candle, then he wouldn't believe me for the longest time. I mean, I was crying. I mean, it was very emotional. It was
Yeah,
terrible,
that would be.
and
That would be. Yes.
it would be. And
Yeah.
there's so when I was doing the as you say, the American Express little card
Yeah.
on the,
Yes.
so that there was things and where customer service should be. I went, I just really need to put the Lord on this. I don't know how I'm going to do it with this stuff. I don't know how, but I just have to. And oh, out of my mouth went Joel 1:9, Joshua 1:9. I went, where'd that come from? And I went, Joshua 1:9. And the Lord commanded, be strong, be courageous, be not afraid. Always know the Lord your God is with you.
Let's talk a little bit about recurring nightmares that you've had. What is the most, I won't say terrifying nightmare, but what's the most memorable, disturbing nightmare that you've had?
Well, I would say recurring,
Hmm.
disturbing,
Hmm.
until something inside me would wake me up. And not wake me up, I'd be totally in my nightmare, or it would happen in dreams too. And I'd say, oh, I can do that. I'm in a dream. But in a nightmare, a monster or somebody would be trying to get me. And I'd say, this is a nightmare. This is my nightmare. I'm not going to no, this is going to be a dream. This is my sleep time. It's going to be a dream. I kick monsters out of my nightmares. But the most, I do think, as you sleep, there's your day is going to affect you. And
Yeah.
I wake at this very, um, it was high end. It was called the Old World Restaurant, and a lot of movie stars, so many movie stars, just ridiculous. Only to say my nightmare was, I would have people at one table 2 blocks away on Sunset Boulevard, and I keep running down to fill up their champagne because I can't bring them their food, and apologizing and saying, I'm getting the eggs were just not the properly cooked, trying to make up these excuses so that they wouldn't leave. And I felt, why did they sit at a table in the middle of all? So that was really a scary, scary dream that I happened more than once.
Do you still have that dream now, even though it's way
Never.
never
So
just while
wait,
you were
yeah. And
good,
my
good.
other dreams, I have great reoccurring, wonderful dreams that I still
Yeah,
have. And I kind of feel like sometimes I'm living it, in
yeah.
one room in my house. And then all of a sudden I found, oh, I didn't realize if I opened this door, there would be another little house that was stocked and the refrigerator's full. And this is full. And I now have an Airbnb. So it's like I have a barn that I'm turning into a tiny house. So it's like I have house after house. Oh, it's getting bigger. And this, and this, and this. If ever you go to Glendale, California, where you're staying.
Yeah, I'll
My
stay. So your Airbnb. Your audio cut out a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's
Airbnb,
what you said. Yes. What's it called? Should I put the information there?
Glendale's Hillside Cottage
All right, Lindale's Hillside Cottage. What city?
with a saltwater pool. It's Glendale, and it's like close to everything. Glendale is like 10 minutes from Universal, 10 minutes, 5 minutes from Warner Brothers.
Nice.
I mean, I go home
It's
from lunch at one when I
perfect
was doing,
location.
yeah, perfect location to everything, to
Yeah.
the beach. I mean, the beach is 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but
Oh, that's still a good setting for everything to be right in the middle of all that.
hiking trails right behind me. So you can see from my cottage, I have a saltwater pool, and then right behind that's literally hysterically quarter of a block up. So I can boast of saltwater pool and mountaintops hiking trail. I
Well, it
don't.
must be a beautiful, beautiful view from your pool. Probably a very relaxing spot to be. Do you have any fears or phobias? Or what is your, I know everyone has them. What is your biggest fear or your biggest phobia?
Rats this morning. Um, and I a friend who's so terrified of rats, so terrified of rats. She called me, and she was working for me doing something, and she didn't call me. She was at my house, and she's like, I can't go home. There's a rat there. I went, I'll go. Do, do, do. So I guess I don't really think about it ever, but to me, outer space would be scary.
Yeah, it is. I think the
To be left.
blackness, the
Yeah,
unknown, the cold, the vastness. That is scary.
it's
Um,
true.
what what's a little funny fact about yourself or a fun little quirk about yourself that your fans may not know but would get a kick out of hearing? Hmm.
I'm with my kids, raising my kids, very madcap, and like we would do things like this isn't like a bad quirky thing, and this is just I'm trying to think of something quirky that a fan would find interesting. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have Disneyland Day, so like they get dressed for school and they'd have be in their uniforms. I'd make them lunch and stuff, and we would just drive past their school and go straight to Disneyland.
Nice.
We would
That's
do that
fun.
times a year.
That is
And
fun.
like as soon as we got far enough in the beginning, they weren't sure, because sometimes I do it and then I turn around and come back. And so as soon as they got to a certain point, it's we're going to Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland.
So they never knew when it was going to happen. It was just spontaneous.
Oh, always. That's what made it fun, is just doing something.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
that would be a great thrill to think you're going to school and you're not. You're going to see Mickey Mouse.
yes, you are.
One of the last questions that I ask my guests before we leave here, and I'm going to give credit to this to a co-host that I had in my first season. Her name is Vanessa Yonta Wright. She would ask the question, "What do you want your legacy to be?" And I like to continue that question when she's not here. So what Nancy, do you think you would like your legacy to be?
I definitely would like to be known as someone who planted seeds for the good, um, who kindness always mattered, and that that the world would wake up and love. But that's a legacy is hard, that I could be of some value, that I would be the person and give what God would want have created me to be.
Yeah, and I think that's a very powerful answer. I think that's a beautiful legacy. And I think if you can get one person, if you can inspire one person to be kind enough to another person, and that third person smiles because you've inspired the second person. I'm trying not to sound like Chrissy Snow from Three's Company here. If you can inspire a person to make another person smile, I think that your legacy has been very well rooted. I had a great time tonight talking to you, and I thank you again so much for coming on to my show.
I really appreciate you. Thank you very, very, very much.
Um,
That's you.
yes, bless you as well.
Ooh, Chiller, chili. I don't know the what noise. You know what?
I'm gonna put that on there.